Hello, welcome to the Man Up Podcast. This is episode 4. Firstly, apologies. I seem to apologise every time I do one. I haven't uploaded for about 2 to 3 weeks, but I'll explain all that in a second. But apologies that I haven't uploaded weekly like I promised. I promise you I'll get better. As you can see from the long hair and the longer beard and the bags under my eyes, it's been a manic few weeks. And the only 5 minutes I've really had is now. So I literally got about 22 minutes before my kids come out of school. So it's the time between then and now that I've got to actually, so I'm sorry it's not set up in an office and I'm not, it's going to be like off the hook here. But it's the only time I've really had a chance to really look at it. I've got loads of content, loads of stuff going, and I've got stuff coming up with guests and stuff. But it's about getting around and making sure it's all working the way it should be. So apologies for that. Apologies. But anyway, let's crack on. Episode 4. What's been happening over the last couple of weeks? Wow, manic, man. This thing's just gone crazy. So obviously we had Easter. Park was very, very busy, and then we had Welsh Water decide to turn all the water off, so we then had a lot of angry people on Park for their Easter holidays. But guess what, couldn't do anything because we had no water, so we had to send a lot of angry people home. So I've been dealing with that, deal with Welsh Water just coming and turning the water off randomly when they want to. I've never dealt with such an unprofessional outfit in my life, I'll be honest. Very underhand, very unprofessional. And cause a lot of stress, not for me, but not that's not the point. My team, my core team that helped run this park, were absolutely battered by owners and guests and holiday makers and people that just didn't understand, and it was made worse with the fact that the owner, Welsh Water, were telling people that we hadn't contacted them. It was our fault, we could have fixed it. And it started on a Saturday morning. They were telling us all day they were going to come out, then they said they wasn't going to come out about 7 o'clock that night. And then on Sunday, the abuse got worse for the staff, to the point I had to get security to stand in with my team just to stop the abuse. And because I understand people's holidays are ruined, and I understand people's time was the days out and all that was because obviously no water. But the way some people spoke to some team members of mine, I'd gladly kick them away anyway, because it was just unbelievable the amount of abuse that were given to. And some of these people that are in my team are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old people that some of it's their first job. They're just trying to do a job. And but then for Welsh Water on top of that, then to say no, nothing to do with us, Park, they haven't called us, it's not our problem, all that. It was just unprofessional. And then on Sunday we decided to dig everything up, Monday. So we dig a load of things up just to prove. So we dug up most of our woods just to prove that the issue was Welsh Water's issue, not us. And then they come out and fixed it and turned the tap on, which literally within 5 minutes of turning that tap on, we had water again, which was unbelievable. But then it didn't finish there. They still come down for the week and turning it down. And I understand they were saying they had less pressure, but what an unprofessional company. That I've never dealt with such an underhand, unprofessional company in my life. And the amount of stress and mental health issues it caused my team was massive. So that's a different matter. We're going to be taking that legal route with them, because they just ruined it, and that's without the loss of revenue, that's without the amount of money and people we've had to refund and compensation and everything else. It's just incredible how underhand they were, and nobody there takes responsibility. Not even at the very top. You have a conversation with people at the very top, they don't care, they don't take responsibility, they don't care that you just ruined. You forget about the money we lost. It's the abuse that my team took. I take my team's welfare very, very seriously, and the abuse they took because of such underhand tactics, and nobody there will take any responsibility. But you guys know me. I'm gonna fight this to the end. So that's that. Another very busy time as well with obviously the Ents and everything else. So we things are just ramping up. There doesn't seem to be enough hours in the day. So if I start my day between 5 and 6, which I sometimes do, mainly do, I'm still working at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, just to fit everything in. And then that's without trying to be present for family and loved ones and stuff. It's difficult at the moment, but I love it. And I know I'm going to get slated for this, and I know people are going to say to me, you're advocating working too much. I'm not, because it's not for everybody. But entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and running a business is not for everybody, and leadership is not for everybody. But I absolutely love the fact that there's not enough hours in the day. Now, I may look tired. I may be like falling asleep for 20 minutes here and there, but I love the fact, and I thrive off the fact that my day is jam-packed. I have an assistant that keeps me on track with stuff, but I love that fact that my day just doesn't seem to stop. I put time aside to spend with my kids. One of them who's actually sleeping there. If you can hear heavy breathing, it's her. She's asleep, which is why I had time to do this video. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it now, because my time is on her when I'm working, when I'm with her. But I love the fact of how busy we are, and how busy, and I just thrive off it. It's my fun. Working is my fun. Quite sad, isn't it? But I love it, and I love being in amongst it with my teams. I love my teams buzzing. I love to give rewards out. Like yesterday, I give 3 girls yesterday that work on my reception team just a couple of vouchers and a thank you card, and to see the happiness in their face that I took the time. And literally, when I say took the time, they probably spent 10 minutes sat in my office with me, right? But that 10 minutes made so much difference to them, because they understood. And I took the time as well, because one of them, I thanked them for their work, and give them something, and we give them a card, and then I explained to them, look, I might not spend 100 minutes a day with you, but I understand and appreciate what you do. And that brings me on to my first point actually today, is the little things and thank yous. So I took these 3 girls yesterday. I spoke to their line manager, like, can you send them to my office? She was a bit like, well, what do you want to see them for? Because obviously I normally deal with heads of departments, and so I just want to say thank you. So I wrote them a card myself, put a voucher in there for them, and just sat there in my office and said, look, I understand it's been tough for you the last couple of weeks. I understand we've been really busy and you're new and everything else, but I wanted to thank you personally for the work and effort you've put in. And you could see the look on their face, how much gratitude they had, just the fact I took the time to say thank you. Give them the card. I also told them my door's open. I might not spend loads and loads of time with you, but my door's open for you to have this conversation with me at any point with anything you need to have a conversation about. I then said to them, look, I don't spend massive amount of time with you, but let me show you my diary. So I flipped my diary and my calendar around on my laptop, and I went, that's my week. I said, but if you need anything or any time with me, there's always a gap in that week for my team. Now, obviously, go to your heads departments on a day-to-day basis, but if you need to catch up with me for anything, there's always a gap in that day for my team. And you could just see that how happy they were to have that, and then to get the feedback off their line manager, how much difference they were, and they understood more how busy I am. But the little thank yous to everybody makes a massive difference, and when we do them, our teams go the extra mile. Now, we should do them anyway. We shouldn't do them to get more out of our team, but when we do them, the team will go the extra mile, and they will work that much harder for us. Because just a thank you and look, I appreciate you and I understand what you're doing, that sits there. That doesn't, that sits there where they need to be, and it makes them feel like they are valued. And that for me is key, because my team, not just my heads of departments who I spend more time with, but the wider team, massively important to me that they feel like that I value what they do. And that's just a little story. So yeah, thank yous is one of my first points today, and appreciation, and just telling people. My next point is imposter syndrome. Now, I have this a lot. Now, I have in one of my businesses, in one of the stuff I do, I have a very new heads of departments team. A lot of people have been in their roles less than a year. They've all progressed from within, and I really try and get the best out of them without micromanaging them. Now, when I say that, I try not to manage their days for them. I expect them to do it, but even I find that sometimes I get frustrated with things being missed. Now, imposter syndrome is key here, because some of my team, and I did reviews this week, so 2 full days of just doing reviews with everybody, some of my team don't believe they deserve to be in the position they're in, right? They don't believe, they don't believe in themselves. And imposter syndrome is massive, because I get it. They don't think they're worthy of the position they're in, right? Or they don't think they're good enough to be in their job. They think they're waiting for a time. They're waiting for a time where somebody comes and goes, yeah, it's all a joke, you're not really in it. Or they're waiting for the time where someone comes up and goes, time to move on, good, you're sacked. I got one in particular that can be extremely good at their job if they wanted to be, but they were so concerned about losing their job after they just took over that they put so much pressure on themselves, they were struggling. But this week, I had a conversation, and it's so good to hear that they feel more confident and more able in themselves because of the support we give them as a business, and myself as a HOD, that they're really happy in what they do now, and they're starting to believe that they deserve to be there. Because when you are in a role, and we all get it, you look at yourself in the mirror and go, I don't deserve this. When's someone going to realise that there's somebody better out there than me? But you know what? There's no one better out there than you. If the people that's put you in that position, there's a reason. Now, I never, ever try and promote anybody that's not ready, because I've done it in the past where I've over-promoted too quickly. Now, you've really got to look at somebody and realise, and then, because you're not just training them to be a HOD in their department, or their area, or the business, you also train them to be a HOD and a leader. And some people are not natural leaders, so they've not only got to try and work out how to manage themselves and their time and their deadlines and everything else, they've also got to try and manage how to deal with 5, 6, 7, 20, 50, 100 different people, and everybody's different. So imposter syndrome is huge. If you ever get imposter syndrome, my advice, what I would do is look in the mirror and to say to yourself, you're there for a reason. I am here for a reason. The person that put me here believes in me. And speak to the person that's put you there. I say to all my HODs all the time, my heads of departments, I say to them, come and speak to me. If you're feeling shitty and you don't know why you're there, or you don't know what you're doing, come and speak to me. Let's have a conversation. And I'll either tell you, yeah, you're doing a shit job. No, I would. Well, I would, actually. But we'd also say, yeah, okay, it's not great, but we're going to fix it this way. So, yeah, imposter syndrome is huge, and it's a massive one. There's loads of books out there on it. There's loads of podcasts and stuff, but, everybody gets a bit of imposter syndrome, right? Until, and if you don't get a little bit of it, and you don't question, am I doing the right thing a little bit, then it turns a little bit into arrogance. So really, really watch out for that, because that is massive. That is key. And we all tend to look at the negatives of ourselves and the things we do badly. We never really take to look at the things we do positively. And we all tend to think that if we are given a task that's not great, it's sometimes then, if we don't do a great task, and then what we tend to think then is, if someone puts like, for example, I put a tracker in place this week for one of my heads of the departments, and I think they thought it was a negative, but it was actually to prevent it becoming a negative. So it was like, no, it's going to help structure structure your day. We know it's helping with performance reviews, it helps you with this, and once you need to explain it. But the key thing on top of that, with people with imposter syndrome, regular meetings is key, and honesty. So if they are having a poor time and they're doing badly, tell them, but give them an action plan how to get better. Or if they come to you and go, I don't think I'm good enough, ask them why they think that, and make sure. And I've got a couple of examples. My current assistant was one that just totally doubted themselves, totally thought they weren't good enough, totally thought they were not meant to do well, and now they are flying. They're not just great at my assistant, they're great at other stuff as well, and doing multiple things. And I'm not an easy person to manage either, so the fact that they can manage my diary and me is fantastic. So yeah, imposter syndrome, a massive one to look out for. Yeah, it's going to be quite a short one episode today, but the other thing I want to talk to you guys about is being present and relationships. Now, I'm not great at this. Those of you who knows me well, I've split up with, I got divorced for various reasons, but not being present. I'm a massive workaholic, right? So I struggle to be present. my mind works 100 times an hour. I have an Apple Watch on, which sometimes is the worst thing in the world. I constantly want to be, but I like that. I want to be working. But what I will say to you is try and give your loved ones some undivided attention. Now, I'm not saying that's finish work at 5, finish work at 3. What I'm saying is, when you have given them some time, so if you're going on a date night, or if you're got some time with your kids, maybe take your Apple Watch off. Now, I'm still working on this because I'm not great at it, and it's cost me relationships in the past, because even on holiday, I'm checking emails, but that's who I am, and I don't think I'm ever going to be able to stop the amount I work. I don't think I'll ever retire. I really don't. I don't think I'll ever retire. I don't think I'll ever be in a position where I won't want to work. I'm hoping to get to a position where I won't have to work as much. But right now, I love it. I love what I do. I love the 50,000 plates I'm spinning. And I do struggle to be present. I do try, like, if my kids are staying with me, I'll try and make some time where I just go and I'll play some football with my boy when I have a baby, and I try not to work when I've got her. With my oldest, I'll go and watch them if they're performing and try not to be working. But they also get it, but also just try and be present, because not everybody understands it. And I think sometimes you've got to try and find a relationship with the person you're with understands who you are and what you do, because if they don't, I think that's the struggle. Even working in the same industry sometimes doesn't happen, because I've been with people that I've had relationships, I'm in the same industry, and they still don't get the hours I work. So just try and be present, and and don't rush anything. And the last thing on relationships is, and this is a question more than anything else, so I want you to give me some comments on this. When do you stop trying? When do you guys stop trying in a relationship? So how often do you keep having the same conversation before it finishes? How often does the relationship keep going around in circles, be okay for a bit, and then stop? How often, when do you guys think enough's enough? Because sometimes I struggle with this a little bit, and people ask me advice on it. I don't know what to do, and I'm not great. I haven't got a great track record of relationships. The best relationships I've got in the world is with my kids and my mum, probably. So my kids' relationships I think are pretty good, and the relationship I got with my mum is incredible. So other than that, I can't sit here and honestly say that I've had great relationships, because if I had, I'd probably still be married, and I'd probably still be in a great position with my previous relationship. So just that one for me. I'm asking you for some help there, to be fair, because I struggle with it. I struggle with the work-life balance thing, and I struggle with making time. I love going on holidays, but even when I'm on holidays, I like to check stuff. Let me check on our email. Like today, the baby was playing in a play centre when she didn't need my undivided attention. I was checking in with the guys. How are we doing on sales? Did we close that deal? Did we manage to transfer that cost out? That for me is something I absolutely adore and I love. So I struggle with it, and I don't think I'm ever going to change. But it's not for everybody. Entrepreneurship, leadership, it's not for everybody, and I thrive off that. The busier and the more stressed I am, the better I am. So what about you guys? You tell me, what do you think? And lastly, on mental health, look, people go on at me all the time about looking after myself. I'm just going to say to you guys, make sure you're giving yourself some me time. I've made a conscious decision today that for 15 minutes every single day, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and meditate. I'm going to put in my diary, in my calendar, 15 minutes meditation. I'm going to shut my door at that time every day, and I'm going to meditate just to clear my mind, because I think you got so much stuff going on, and you just need to give yourself some self-help. That's my first thing. And then I think from next week, because I'm not training enough as much as I should be, and you guys should all look after yourselves. And when you say training, it doesn't have to be the gym. It doesn't have to be 2 hours every day because I'm the Rock. It can be 15-minute Joe Wicks. I listened to a Joe Wicks podcast today with Stephen Bartlett, and even he said that it can be 10 minutes, it can be 15 minutes, it can be 20 minutes, it can be half an hour here and there. So the key is just doing something. So 15-minute meditation starts next week, and I'm really going to try and get some I try and do 10,000 steps a day any day anyway, but I'm going to get that a little bit more, even if it's just a little walk or something. So yeah, look after yourselves, look after your mental health, make sure you get I'm not going to preach you about sleep, because even though it's important, I don't do it. Make sure you're getting your enough exercise and enough stuff like that. So yeah, that's me today. Sorry, short and sweet, but I didn't want to go any longer without a video. But I've got a great couple of guests coming up very, very soon. So stay tuned for it. It's going to be amazing. Thank you for listening if you are. I don't expect any to. If you really want to be nice to me and you want to like, subscribe and share the video and share the podcast, we are going to be going on to Apple Podcasts and Spotify within the next 4 weeks. And I've got some great things coming up, including Netflix, including festivals, and some other stuff that I'm working on. So have a great week, and I'll catch you all on the other side. Bye-bye.